And we're in. So we're off to Manchester, going back to Manchester University. I've been asked really quite nicely to get involved with something called the Manchester Entrepreneurs AccelerateMe program. So obviously those of you that have been following me for a while know that when I was at Lancaster University, I ran something there called Lancaster Entrepreneurs. I basically ended up running the society there, Lancaster Entrepreneurs, which we grew really successfully into something really cool. And obviously we did lots of cool things with Manchester Entrepreneurs at Manchester University, just down the road from us. And what we wanted to do, or what I wanted to do when I was a student, was get involved with this great program that they've got called AccelerateMe, Accelerate Manchester Entrepreneurs. They're quite well funded, they've got a lot of interest from lots of external organisations, and it's a really great organisation that helps student businesses get some funding to help the startups grow. And I always really wanted to be part of this when I was at university myself, but kind of couldn't because I was running Lancaster Entrepreneurs. So it would almost be playing for the other team, as it were, if I was getting some money from the other side. So now, as time has come round, and obviously I've got my business and things going well at our end, that we've been invited to go not only to participate in the program, but actually as a mentor for a lot of the new student businesses that are being created, to help and assist in that process. So it's really quite exciting and quite an honour, really, that just in a 2-year time period, I've gone from wanting to be on that program as a student to now being a mentor on that program and helping new students through. So it's going to be quite an exciting thing for me to be involved in tonight, and something that I'm really passionate about. And it's it's great what such short a period of time can do when you really kind of put your mind to things. So very much looking forward to tonight. Loads of great people are going to be there, plenty of students with great and amazing ideas, and hopefully there'll be some small companies there that will soon grow into something awesome and exciting. So yeah, it should be a lot of good fun. Okay, perfect. Hey guys, you okay, my friend? Josh, nice to meet you.
Nice to meet you too.
Good to meet you. Come on in. Come on in. Right. Okay, so give me a quick overview, my friend. What's going on?
I'm a PhD student doing electrical and electronic engineering.
Yeah.
I'm passionate about music and music production.
Yeah.
I've been really unfortunate when I was younger to have a really bad music education, and I really want to help people through technology to have a better experience. I'm really interested in education technology, and I currently have 2 products that I want to launch in the market within the next 2 years. The first one is an Android application which is similar to Shazam, but instead of being able to recognize predetermined songs, a music teacher, for example, will be able to play a piece of music on the piano and then store that in a database. And when a student uses a similar version of the application to practice, in the background, the smartphone will be listening to their practice session, and then they'll be getting feedback.
Right, okay.
So that's the first idea.
So it almost use AI to replicate how
Yes.
good someone performed that piece.
Yep.
Okay.
But unlike traditional deep neural networks, you don't have to train it many times. Once
Okay.
you have 3 versions of the song played by a professional,
Yep.
it's enough
To sync
to create
that
a
as a level.
profile,
Yeah, okay.
It's really interesting because I've seen on your profile that you like to work with startups that don't necessarily want to raise a lot of capital in the beginning.
Yeah.
And that would be my approach as well. Instead of looking for investors, I'd rather have a solid product I'm developing on my own in my free time, and then I'm able to reach my customers through my channel rather
Yep.
than trying to raise capital. You're obviously working with people that are more closer to the technical side of things.
To some extent, yeah.
I'm more on that side, and that's why I joined AccelerateMe, because I want to get some knowledge on entrepreneurship, growth,
Yep.
that sort of
So you're more have you developed this yourself?
I'm currently developing
Right,
it.
so you're the brains,
Yeah.
but now you need the business. Yeah.
And I'm very suspicious as a person, so that's why I want to do it all on my own,
Yeah.
at least at
Okay.
this point.
Okay. Well, that's something you're gonna have to get over, because you cannot make a business on your own. I founded my company myself. I own 100% of my company. You know, we're now a 7-digit revenue company in 12 months. And I brought in every single penny of revenue to the business this year. It's a pretty steep order, but it's possible because I'm not Superman. I'm only human, you know, like I'm not any better than you. It's just a case of, in order for me to do that, even though I did it all myself, I didn't do it all myself because I was able to bring on, you know, actually one of my best friends from university as my first employee, who obviously then, you know, I taught him how to build the equipment, and then you just kind of find all the things you're good at or all the things that are needed in a business, and as soon as you can, get someone else to do those things that your time isn't best spent doing. You know, so if I'm really good at sales, it makes more sense for someone else to build the equipment and I sell. You know, so if you're not very good at the business side of things, you know, it depends on how you feel, because obviously there's no reason why you need a co-founder per se. If you want to do it all yourself, you certainly can. But it really depends on kind of the speed in which you want this product to move in the market, and also being very realistic about where your skills are as well, because you can get better at everything. But say, for example, if you're not a natural sales guy, you're never going to be a natural sales guy. And ultimately, any business growth people need to buy the stuff. So yeah, you can do a lot of online stuff, a lot of online marketing, and ultimately yours would be an app that would be downloaded. So there's not quite the same face-to-face sales mechanisms as such, but you still need to create the marketing plans and the approaches, and all of those things need quite scientific construction behind them and how they all work. Now, you'll probably be okay with that because you're quite analytical in your background. So you'll probably be able to take quite a scientific approach to the marketing, which will probably work quite well for you.
But it doesn't always work. Sometimes the market itself is so chaotic that an analytical and linear approach is not the best way to take it.
And that's it. And the thing is you have to be realistic to that. So what I'm trying to say, I guess, is it really depends on the speed that you want the business to move. Because you could do everything yourself if you wanted to. But the reality of it is, obviously, you're still studying at the moment, so you're only going to have very limited time. So it really depends upon your time. How long have you got left on your PhD?
3 years left.
Oh, so you're right in the beginning of it.
Year,
Okay, right, okay. So you really have to kind of balance kind of where that is and how it works, because you might be able to get this to a stage where actually you get it all set up, you get it marketed, and it just kind of sits on the App Store, and you just do a bit of work on it in the evenings, and it keeps it going. And maybe you don't end up earning crazy amounts of money from it, but it's something that you love, something that you've developed, and it ends up earning a bit of money in the background. Because what you have to establish is what you want from this. You know, because what's your PhD in at the moment?
It has to do with positioning systems, small scale positioning systems, which kind of relates to my second idea. So my second idea, which is a hardware product, it's sort of a virtual musical instrument that it's basically a device that's wearable. It tracks your position within a room, and it also tracks the motion of your hands. And basically you can assign that motion to different instruments. Okay. So imagine having a cohort of 20 students. And different body movements create different music, and you can make music through that. But instead of just individual movements, you track the group. The cohort, track the group. So imagine 20 people making a circle, and the more the circle opens up.
That'd have really good applications in like disability and medical rehabilitation.
One of my potential applications is for people with neurodegenerative diseases.
Yeah.
Because it's one of the very narrow fields of medicine that there's solid proof that
music really helps. Yeah, no, that's a really good point. That's a really good point. Now, here you've got two totally different things. There might be some crossover in technology.
This is kind of one of the things that's puzzling me, because I can market something for education for the second product. I can market something for, as you said, medical purposes. And there's also the purely artistic side of things that I can approach artists and create a different version and say, you can use this to create whatever you want. So what would be your advice on differentiating between the markets?
It comes down to a few main things. So one, what the hell do you want? Because if the honest truth is you're doing a very specific niche degree, you're going to be very highly educated in it in 3 years' time. You know, so one, I don't know your personal circumstances, but I imagine, you know, you've got some family support to come over here, or there's family members that are encouraging you to be here. So, you know, one, is it even conceivable that you're going to drop out in the next 3 years? Or are you absolutely categorically going to finish your PhD?
The only reason, you mean drop out and not finish the PhD? The only reason I'm doing the PhD, I never applied for it. My supervisor sort of told me, do you want to do it? So I was like, yeah. To be honest with you, I spend 6 hours a day for the PhD, and the rest of my day is devoted to doing anything else.
Okay, so what you have to understand is, if that's possible, that's fine, because what I'm saying is if you get that really niche PhD, you know, you might be able to go and work somewhere for 50, 60 grand a year straight off the bat, and you have to go, well, is that okay for me? Is that a want? Like, because before you start making these decisions upon which direction do I want to go with my business, you need to first establish that you categorically want to run your own business full time, that's it, because that's a very, very different type of lifestyle.
What was the process you followed to actually make that decision?
When everything else isn't an option.
When everything else is not an option?
Yeah, because there is no way that I could not do my own thing. Like, it has to be the absolute fire that wakes you up in the morning. Because the thing is, business is hard as shit. Like, it's none of this, you know. The problem is whenever you see, even in a space like this, even when you're talking to someone like me who's still right at the bottom in the grand scheme of things, like, there's 30 people, 100 people that have tried it and haven't even got to where I've got. Like, it's just, it's completely all-consuming, you know. Like, it's not glamorous. I run a multi-million pound company and I live at home with my mum, even though money is not an issue anymore, because I'm so concerned about not spending money I don't need to and growing my company that I still make those sacrifices, even though, you know, arguably I don't need to. But it's all about eating shit for a while and putting resources where they need to. And
there's a phrase that says you have to eat shit for a while in order to eat the caviar later.
Yeah, exactly that. So, you know, it's what people fail to forget is the emotional difficulty of being an entrepreneur. Like, it's really damn hard, like mentally, emotionally, physically. Like, your friends won't have a clue what you're doing, and they won't understand it because they're all working at grad jobs and it's a very different world for them. So what we find, like, a lot of people get into this because they're really passionate about a certain thing or developing something, and actually, particularly from like master's, PhD, academic backgrounds, sometimes what you find is they actually love their own projects more than running a business. It's just that if someone could pay them 100 grand a year to use their brains to make a product for another company, that's actually better for them. So I don't know you and your thoughts, and you only know yourself well enough, but you have to be crystal clear on really what you want to do. Because until you get to that point and everything else isn't bothered and nothing else is a problem, then it's very difficult for you to be able to then go, okay, well, I could do this, I could do this, I could do this, because you need to decide you're even at that start point yet. And a lot of people think they are, because it's quite easy to get to this point where you've got a little idea, you've got a skill set behind it, you've spanned something out of what you're doing, but, you know, are you prepared to spend 12, 14-hour days on the phone getting no's all day because people don't want to know what you're doing? Like, it's just relentless.
That is actually one of my concerns, because as I told you, I'm more of a technical person, and I'm trying to develop the entrepreneurial side. Just to jump to a different point.
Because the honest truth is that's the hardest skill.
Yeah, and I do realize.
Like even though the tech skill that you have, there's only this many people in the world that can do it. There's this many people that are true entrepreneurs.
Yeah.
That's the hard thing. Like you might get people that are good at sales or good at this or good at marketing, but actually like die-hard entrepreneurs, that's a really small fragment of people. You know, they're the crazy people. You know, and it's just like
Dismal.
yeah, it is dismal. You know, like today, for example, for me, today's a really easy day. You know, I was in the office at 8 o'clock. I'll get home at 10 o'clock. That's a 14-hour day for me. That's a nice day. I'm like, oh, only going to Manchester and back, sweet.
Yeah.
Like,
so as stereotypical as this question might sound, what keeps you going? Is it just passion, or do you do something to take the edge off?
Like I enjoy I enjoy being able to make a difference, and I'm very realistic about the world that we live in. And ultimately, by being in a position of arguably some level of success, that enables you to influence more people in an easier manner. So for me, I'm passionate about blockchain education. You know, if I was just a guy on YouTube, yeah, there'd be some audience there, but ultimately because of what I've got now and where we're growing the business and where it's going, people want to listen to what's going on. And it helps me, I take normal business investors and normal people and bring them into the blockchain space, and that grows this awesome new technology. You know, it's like telling your friends about some new awesome online game, or, you know, you want to build that community. And that's kind of where we get, because the more people that get involved in the space, the better it becomes for everyone. So that's what I love it, and it's the journey as well. Like, it's super exciting. Like, now I'm at a point where I've been able to employ some of my best friends from university, and I go into my office and it's like some of my best mates are there, and it's like so much fun. It's really, really great, and it's a privilege to be able to do that. But that doesn't happen in every instance, and to be honest, it's happened much quicker than, not that I expected. I knew it was going to move very quick, but it's scary, you know? Like, it's mad. And the reality of it is if you want to do the tech stuff, there's very, very few people who can do the tech stuff and the business stuff. It's like opposite ends of the spectrum.
Yeah.
And that's not a bad thing.
To be an entrepreneur, you need to be hyper creative.
Yeah.
And in order to be a technical person, you need to be, well, to be an entrepreneur, you need to be very high in trade openness from a psychological perspective, and you don't find many people who are highly technical but very open.
No, so it's tough. So it really depends on what you want to do. You know, your products, hide's not the right word, but you could probably do very well through, you won't, I mean, you will have to have lots of physical meetings, but it's not the same as a physical product. It's like, you're not, you could hide behind a very nice website and some very clever marketing to get this implemented, some cool videos and some cool brand strategy, and you could do that quite well. But really, if you want to start having the partnerships and the developments and the wider stuff, then that's where those skills are really going to come into play. And again, it's a case of the time scale. Like, could you learn all that stuff? Yeah, absolutely. You know, will you ever be as good at it as other people? Maybe, maybe not. And if you really desperately want to do this full time, and if you really believe that this is the only thing that you want to do, there might be an argument for getting other people involved if you don't feel that you're at a point where you can do all those things. And that's not a bad thing. Like, being realistic to your weaknesses is really important, because there's things that I suck at, you know, and I make sure that I get other people who are better than me to do that. You know, because smart business people will employ people who are better than them at certain things. You know, I suck at, like, keeping on top of stuff. I'm like a messy thinker. You know, I don't really do processes or linear stuff, or, you know, I just like move too quick. So I've got people in my team now who are really like process driven and like kind of pull me down a bit and say we need to do this and this and this. And that's really helpful. We got 5 now, yeah.
You said that you work with some of your friends from university.
Yeah.
Do you think that's, I mean, in your case, you obviously mentioned that it's a good thing, but
it's hard. It's hard. It's like it's not, as a rule, it's a bad rule. It's probably going to cause more problems than good.
Yeah.
But under certain circumstances, it can work very well. So, yeah, and the dynamics quite good with the people that I have in my team. It was interesting situations how they came to work. So there's always that level of respect there, so it works quite well. It's certainly much easier to manage your team when you're not your friends, because it's very difficult for people who you used to have a drink with at uni to tell them off if they've done something wrong. It is very difficult. But thankfully, they're very capable members of the team, so it's never too much of an issue. But yeah, generally it's a bad idea. But I mean, I think that's a big thing for you. You just really have to think about who you are as an individual, what you're good at, what you're bad at, and really where you want this to go. All those, do I do this business, do that business, do that, that's kind of irrelevant at this point. You just need to sit down and go, what do I really want and how do I get there? And when, as soon as you've established that, because it might well be when you really search inside and you think about it, you go, you know what, I love the tech I'm making, but I'd honestly rather do it working for someone else. And that's fine. Like, there's no problem with that. Or you come to the other side of the fence and go, I absolutely want to do this. Realistically, with a PhD on my plate, which is hard work, with this and with not having those skills, what do I need to do to get it to that point? Yeah. And then you can start breaking it down. Good to see you again, mate. Yeah, very, very good. Really good, thank you, yeah.
Really good.
Really good. Yeah, it's good to see you again.
You too, man.
Very good. Okay, right, do you want to give us an overview, guys, where you're up to, what you're doing?
Yeah, sure, let's go for it. So, try to keep it sweet and short. So we are AccelerateMe. We're essentially a recruitment company that wants to help startups and SMEs recruit top-notch talent, focusing on students and graduates. On the other hand, we also want to help these people to get a good job.
Yep.
So there's two sets of things. Now, what we are actually doing, we're testing out 3 different things. So we set up about half a year ago, and then we had an online job board, which we didn't charge money for. We see how that went, and along the way we also learned that there's many other ways we might be able to reach that. Mm-hmm. So we're still doing the online job board kind of thing, really simple. The goal is to least amount of clicks, application, for free at the moment. So we're testing different things on how we can charge. So at the moment what we are doing is seeing and actually collecting data with my new website, which hopefully launches on Monday, of if you are on the front page or on top of some list, then you get X amount more applications and that kind of stuff. So like a really, I guess, traditional system, and also upselling some of the services that we are trying out right now on kind of a recruitment marketing agency model. So basically what we want to do is not just help people get in touch. So like, you have a startup, you put the job in our platform and then you get an application. But how do we actually source as much candidates as possible? How do we engage them? How do we make them feel that if I get an offer from this company and a big company or something that the courier service tells people to do, then you actually choose that company. So we are looking into things like understanding the whole customer candidate journey, formalizing good employer value proposition, employer branding, kind of communicating your culture and what ways.
Okay, so 2 things. So what's the current revenue model?
There is, I would say, none in a sense. So currently we don't charge for the online one, for the recruitment marketing model. They're running one pilot project, which you don't charge for, only for operative costs.
Okay.
And one of the things actually we definitely need help in is how do we charge?
Okay. So no doubt you're aware of how traditional recruitment companies work, right? So typically it's a 3-month placement and then a 15% fee. Yeah. Usually how most models work. So what you have to understand is, what I didn't get from that, what wasn't clear, is what is your niche within the market? Are you a particular recruiter for startup companies, or are you a recruiter for graduates wanting corporate jobs?
So we're focusing on the B2B side. So you have a startup, you want to hire grads and interns, we want to help you, and then obviously the students will come.
Okay.
So we basically market for them in a sense.
Right, so who are you working for? Are you working for the students or are you working for the corporates?
For the startups.
You're not working with corporate, like the companies in a sense.
We're only working with SMEs, so like startups, early stage businesses, no corporate.
Right, okay. So startup and early stage companies that need staff, you're finding from the graduate market?
Yeah.
Right, okay. So you're working effectively on behalf of the SMEs and finding the students?
Exactly.
Right, so what's the model in which you're using at the moment, and what I mean by that is are you creating this online platform which you hope to attract students into, and then actively finding, are you going to the market, the SME market, and saying, hey, look at all these cool students over here, use our platform, or are you getting the businesses first, and then you're going out to the students and saying, hey, we've got this great job for you?
Yeah.
Because that's 2 very different models.
So basically we have, And this is two different things that we set up. So we have basically an online job board, which we say to SMEs, hey, we have the database of a couple of hundreds of students. Come on our website, so you get these students apply to you if you have a good message. For students, we say, hey, these are these cool companies. We have a bit of a problem with this chicken neck kind of thing. How do we start off? And we say to them, hey, these are these cool companies hiring.
So
get on the platform.
At the moment, all your time has been spent on the platform itself, hasn't it?
No. So we have three different basically parts. So we have the platform.
Yeah.
Then we have the consultancy services in which we go talk, we have a chat with the companies, understand that they don't really know how to recruit the talent, and then we basically build up the research and give them the advice, what are their problems and how can they solve them, and if they decide, we can also implement those solutions for them. And we also, the third part is represented by events. So we got contacted by the University of Manchester that they want to organize like a careers fair, only focused on startups. So we're organizing that for them as well. So these will be like the three main areas in which we activate.
Right, okay.
And right now we're like actively searching on which can offer us a sustainable business model. It can be one, it can be two, it can be all three of them. But at the current time, managing all three of them and trying to deliver like really quality services is like extremely hard.
It's too much. Yeah, so that's the issue, because they're three totally different businesses. That's the problem you've got, because the event market for recruitment is one thing on its own. Because what you have, so I have a friend who has a very successful recruitment company, and she literally works from home on her own, and she basically goes to corporates and says, I'll be able to get you this job filled, and she will literally sit on LinkedIn for days messaging 100 people that fit that profile, and then bring that person who she found directly to interview. So she actively does all the finding for people. And at that point, she charges 15%.
So great.
So the difference is she doesn't have a central platform where because the only problem is with having a central platform is you need to build it from both sides. It's chicken and egg. You need the people to want to advertise there, and you need the students to come on board. That ain't going to happen. It's just not going to happen, because there's going to be this clash in the middle. So what you need is you have to do the legwork. You either have to go out and get a shit ton of applicants, demanded jobs from the sector, and then go and find the students, or you got to get all the students to this platform and then people look at the platform. So you're going to have to do a lot of the legwork to build one side of that before the other one comes. So I would suggest it's easier to see what the companies need and go out and find that student individually one by one. Because at that point, every student that you then place goes through the platform. And it builds naturally. Because any other company wants to see that some other company's used you first and has got good reviews. So you find one company that needs a job role filling, and you just work your ass off finding the perfect student, one by one, phone calls, Facebook, LinkedIn, find that perfect student, join them together. And at that point, you make sure you capture that data, customer testimonials from the business, from the student, and then that becomes a completed circle, and then you do it again and again and again, and before you know it, then other companies see that this is working, other students see this is working, and then it becomes something tangible. Because at the moment, you're trying to do both things at once, and it's never going to work, because one side won't be there without the other.
So what you're suggesting is go to the companies, understand the needs, and then highlight some of those jobs, but not as a job board, but just, hey, some of the jobs that we are actually having right now are needs.
Yeah, just fine. Go and speak to those companies and go, look, who do you need right now? If I could find you one golden member of staff, who would it be and why? What would that person look like? Do a customer avatar for that company, find their perfect person, and then go and find that person. And then you join the two together. And then all of a sudden, you've catered to a company's needs. They're struggling to find that person for whatever reason. You cherry pick a student, and then it's a very privileged, very powerful thing. Effectively headhunting, really. It's basically student headhunting. That doesn't really exist, but it could work very well.
Okay, great. So, and based on your experience, you're running a startup. What kind of pricing model would you suggest? So at the moment, what we had in mind, because what we offered so far is not that we actually fill the role for you. But hey, we look into your website and all that kind of stuff. See, hey, you literally have no employer branding materials. You don't have a transparency on the process. You know, you don't have any videos, and our research shows that.
See, again, that's a different business.
Yeah, so that's
the problem you've got.
So
you're trying to do 3 different businesses at once without having any value in the middle.
Yeah, okay.
So for example, for my company now, I started with the mining company.
Yeah.
We sold the hardware, and after a year of being in that space with customers, now I own a consultancy company, a training company, and an accountancy company. Because you buy, you come to a training event, then you want to buy a machine, and then you earn money from the machine, and then you need the accountant, and then the businesses at the machine want consulting projects for ongoing work.
Okay.
Everything feeds everything as a natural flow. It took me a long time to get there, 12 months, 18 months to get there.
Yeah.
So all these things that you want to happen, there's nothing wrong with them, and they'll the right hand will feed the left. But you need to get to a point where you've actually got something of value.
Okay.
At the moment, that's what your problem is. You need a gravity to pull everything into.
Yeah.
So just focus on one thing. All you have to focus on is placing people. That's it. That's your biggest thing. Forget everything else. It's not important right now. The consulting, the this, that, the other, if you want to do the consulting business, that's a separate thing. That would be then your value proposition. But I get a feeling it's more the placement that you guys want to be doing.
Yeah. That's definitely something we have to. So within that kind of, let's not call it consultancy, let's call it marketing basically on your behalf.
Yeah.
Or we create content for you, all that kind of stuff, because one of the biggest problems that we see is that, that you offer somebody a job.
Right, so that just factors into your value proposition. So your marketing of that job is shit.
Yeah.
We're going to get you that person.
Okay.
Give us permission to get that person how we see fit.
Okay.
So it's not consulting, it's getting the right person by any means possible. We're students, we're in that world, we know how to get that perfect person to your company, let us deal with it. And then you just factor that into your pricing scheme. We've actually created a custom video on behalf of your company.
Yeah.
I would argue a lot of the time you probably don't even need to do that, not in the beginning either, because you're probably thinking further down the line as the product develops, that would be an upsell of the product. So right now, that company wants that job filled. You can go there, you can sit down, you can get an exact list of the perfect candidate, and you physically yourself, phone calls, emails, one-on-one interviews, whatever the hell, find that individual perfect student. You don't need a video, you don't need that because it's too small right now.
Yeah.
As the company grows and you start placing people, then you can start adding in those extra value features, because then you can start saying, look, we've done this and we've done this and we've done this. If you want more candidates than what we're able to bring, a wider flow of people, then video can work really well and we can do this and this and this and this. And then you can span it out. But don't overcomplicate things straight off the bat. And the revenue model, you can follow it traditionally in the sector, it's just a placement fee.
Yeah.
So you don't usually charge any time for going and seeing them. It can be it's a time heavy process for you guys, but there's 2 of you. So one of you is probably best placed to maybe get the job thing, and then eventually maybe one of you is better on the finding people, or you both do whatever. And then ultimately it's a case of doing it one by one, and then the revenue model, obviously at first, the money that you're making is totally irrelevant. Don't worry about the money later. Worry about adding value right now.
Okay.
All you want is this company to be the freaking happiest ever with that employee.
Okay.
That's it. That's all that you want. The money's irrelevant right now. Wait till you got your first 10 people, then worry about the money. So that's not to say you shouldn't charge, but create a revenue model which is so good and basically creates a guarantee of success that they will choose to use you over other companies. So at the moment it typically works on about 15% after a 3-month thing. Right now, look, realistically in your position that you're in, you don't need money. You're at students, you're doing this, whatever, you'll get by if you're not making $5,000 a month because you're already at that point. So make a model that basically says, you can go above and beyond with that. If you say to someone, look, we're not going to charge you a penny until someone's been with you for 6 months, and then we only want 10%, that is no other company in the market offers that. And that might just be enough to get you in the first kind of instances. Or you either sell on price, or what you should really do is sell on value. So by doing that, you say, look, we actually go out one by one and we personally handpick that person. It's not done on a board. It's not done on hosted website. It's done cherry-picked, hand-on, one-on-one. We've seen your business. We've seen the staff. We only put together the right people.
Sorry guys, that's time.
Right.
And that would be a much better value add. And then you can charge whatever you see fit. You know, a combination of those two approaches, just focusing on that. Find what jobs are needed, go and hand-pick that person, put them together, everything else will follow. Once you've placed 10 people, everything else will follow.
Okay. Do you think there's any chance you can connect us with your friend that you said that is already
Yeah,
doing this?
yeah, sure.
If I drop you a message on LinkedIn or a mail,
Yeah,
would that be alright?
sure.
Okay,
Absolutely.
Cheers. Thank you so much.
No problem,
Really
guys.
nice to see you again,
Thanks,
man.
man.
Thank you.
Hope that made a bit of sense for you. Nice to meet you, my friend. Josh. Good to see you, my friends.
How's it going?
Very well, thank you. Yeah, very well. So come on, hit me, guys. What have we got?
Yeah, so we are working on Skybox.
Okay.
It's a VR and AR app that helps, that it is implemented at museums.
Okay.
So it basically, have you been at the Manchester Museum?
I've not recently, but it's a great place. Yeah.
Well, any museum.
You're already
basically,
in
but
there?
Yeah,
Excellent.
we have an exhibit there.
Okay.
So we have the T-Rex at there, and you just download the Skybox app, you press the button, and then you can see a VR animation
Okay.
for that museum.
Awesome.
That's it. We have a demo.
Have we got a
here.
demo?
Yeah.
Excellent. We love a demo.
So this is a new app that is going to
Yeah.
be released next week.
Okay,
You
so
just
that's
scan
the app.
Yeah.
Okay.
You just scan this. Try to just.
Okay,
fit
so it scans
Try
out-
to Put it on top.
Automatically.
There we go.
Okay. Oh, okay. There we go. Yeah, we get it.
working well?
Yeah, we get it. Okay, can we rotate the image at all? No.
Yeah, you
didn't
can
move
just
it?
do this.
Okay.
With two fingers. Yeah.
Oh yeah. Okay. That's cool.
Yeah. If you press the yellow button,
Yeah.
it becomes real size.
Okay.
So you might have to go very.
Yeah. Okay. All right. I see. Oh, and it becomes real size. Right. Okay. That's cool. Ah. Okay. I get it now.
Yeah, you might have to go like very.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah, we need another yellow button to make it go smaller. That's what we need. Some app development there.
Yeah.
Okay, that's cool. I like that. Yeah, I get it.
Okay. So yeah, this is
Okay.
basically what we're doing.
So what other information is included other than a visual?
Yeah, it has an audio. We just didn't raise it.
Right.
up.
Okay.
Yeah, I mean,
So that's what a description about where it lived and what it did and kind of stuff
how-
about
why
it.
it's
And
important. Why is this
Okay.
one so important in particular?
yeah. Okay.
Etc. too. So this is AR, but we have also some other exhibits with VR. So
Yep.
the idea is that we just send this to the museum. We implement everything in the app. We
Yep.
don't have to make any
No.
infrastructural changes.
Okay, that's
So-
good. They literally stick that next to the exhibit. Easy. That's good. That's
Yeah.
clever.
So it's very simple. Yeah, we tested the version from before
Yeah.
at the museum. That's why we moved to this. It's just scan. That's it. You
Okay.
don't have to
So
press any buttons.
great. Okay. So
the
so
issue-
what's the problem?
yeah, what's the problem we have? We have issues with expanding to other museums
Yeah.
and revenue models. Those are our
The
main
revenue
goals.
model.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah.
So expanding with two other museums, we have the Manchester Museum and we have
Mm-hmm.
other museum in Rochdale
Mm-hmm.
that asked us for 6 exhibits. The problem with that one is that our budget goes into a bigger budget and they're waiting for the government to approve.
Yeah.
Right? So it goes connected to the revenue model.
So what are you charging for that at the moment? Have you
So
got
to
some
develop
prices in
each
there?
exhibit, it's
Yeah.
about £5,000.
Wow. Okay.
Yeah.
And what goes into the cost of that?
It's a 3D model, recreation of the 3D model,
Yeah.
animation about a
Your
60
guys' time,
Yeah,
basically.
60 seconds animation.
Yeah, okay.
Well, we have to pay license of the software that we
Yeah.
use.
Yeah.
all of
Yeah.
that.
Okay.
That's,
Yeah. Okay.
It might be minimal, but it adds when
Yeah.
you have little museum.
Yep.
Testing. Yeah, testing, implementing the AR, checking that. It might be ridiculous, but you have to do it a couple of times
Oh
just
yeah.
to make sure that everything
Yeah. I
works.
know that
and
feeling.
it's not-
So give me. So what do you guys do in the business? Who's the techie geeky guy?
Both of us are
Okay,
working
you're both
on it.
techie
so
geeky
we have,
guys,
we have
right, okay.
about 4 people in the business.
Okay.
So both of us, another person who's doing marketing, and
Yeah.
another person who is doing the 3D models.
Okay.
The 4 of us are students, so yeah.
Okay. Perfect. Right. I get it. So out of that 5,000, have you the ones that are already in at the moment, the museum set? Have you already charged for those?
Yeah, no, that one no. It's
That's just a tester to kind of get it in the
At
market.
the beginning,
Yeah.
it started like a test.
Yeah. Of course.
So we did it as a test. They were learning. We were learning. It helped us to get like 500 people using it,
Yeah.
getting feedback. We
Perfect,
improved
yeah.
a lot from it.
Yeah,
so
absolutely.
It was a good investment.
Okay.
From our time, they paid for all the costs, so we didn't have to put money in.
Perfect.
So
Okay.
it was a pretty good deal, I think.
Yeah, no, it was a very
but
good
now
deal.
we have to expand, right? We can't work for free forever.
Yeah.
So
Okay.
the main, what are we gonna say? Yeah, so that revenue model.
Okay.
So when we charge museums, they usually like a one-time fee. So we
Yeah.
develop something, they pay us, that's it. Done.
Yeah. Okay.
Job is done.
But why is it a one-time fee?
Why?
Yeah.
I mean, I can explain you the three of them, but that's what the one we don't like.
Museums like that.
Yeah, the museums like that one because it's done for them.
Yeah.
They can plan for the year. That's it. We want to implement a yearly model that
Yeah.
they pay us because we have to maintain the app.
Subscriptions,
right?
yeah, okay.
The app needs to be maintained. If information changes, we have to improve it. Let's say we have another one in Mars, and they just send this new thing in Mars that discovered that there was water, etc., etc. So we have to change it.
Yeah.
Right. So we need to maintain it, and that's extra cost. So we want a yearly model, but museums don't like that one because they have to pay every
Budget
year.
and
they
funding
don't-
and
they don't
grants
know.
and
They
yeah,
don't-
okay.
they don't know if they have it. The third model would be charging the people that are using the app at the museum.
That's not going to work.
Yeah.
You know. Why museums?
We wanted to focus on educational areas.
Why?
It's a good question because we saw that there was
Why?
potential in museums to use this.
Yeah?
Yeah, there is potential now.
There's potential for a lot of. This is a
Yeah.
cool tech and it
Yeah.
can be used in a lot of different
Yeah,
places.
yeah.
You know, there are other kind of apps very similar to this out there.
I agree. Yeah.
You know, so it's a case of what do you guys do that they don't?
Yeah.
You know, it's kind of a new technology. Not a lot of people are really. People at the moment, it's a bit gimmicky.
Yeah,
like
yeah, definitely.
not your product, but the sector.
yeah.
The sectors, it's a bit gimmicky. There's,
Yeah,
there's very few people have found a way in which to. So that animation that comes up of the T-Rex,
Yeah.
is there any way that you could, in that same animation screen that comes up, play like a video or a commercial or a trailer?
About something.
So you could have maybe like a 3D render of a commercial product,
Yeah.
and then you could have a video that came up and explained that video. Could that come up on the phone screen within that 3D mod? That would be quite easy to do, right?
Yeah.
Because what you've got as a product is really cool. The problem is you're working in a weird sector, museum sector. Because what's the problem? You got to wait for the funding, and the purchase decision is not based with the person you're opposite the table with.
Yeah.
You'll work your ass off to get into the museum, and then someone can go, oh yeah, we really like it, we'll put it in the funding bid, and then someone who you've never met in your life gets to say if it goes in or not.
Yeah.
That's not going to work long term. So what you want to do is forget museums in the short term and implement this in private business. Because a company like mine, for example, you could do a 3D model of one of my mining rigs. We could send something like this out to all our clients in the post. Up pops a video of us explaining it. That's cool as shit.
Yeah. And
Right.
private.
And I make that decision right now.
Yeah. That makes sense.
Like,
Really makes
you
sense.
don't need all the bollocks that comes with it.
Yeah.
And ultimately, you just want to get paid.
Yeah.
You don't care.
Yeah,
Like,
no, definitely.
whether it's there or like, if you're passionate about education, awesome. But guess what? Private companies want to educate their customers. You know, so unless you're, passionately focused on dinosaur history and museums, that's just obviously a good use case for it at the moment. But don't limit yourself to museums. Museums is never going to scale very quickly. That will come naturally as the business grows and people want that on board and it becomes a thing. But what you need at the moment is quick wins to develop the business.
Yeah.
And that's going to come from people like me in the private sector that can make a decision like that.
Quickly, yeah.
So that's where you need to focus.
All right. Oh, it's a good point. And it's actually a point that we have been getting a lot.
Because something like that would make a really cool marketing campaign.
Yeah, it does.
Because no doubt that's an iOS app at the moment, but you've got an Android one too, right?
Yeah.
Right. So you just download. So you could send. I'm already thinking now. I'm already doing all the work for you. But you could think, I could send a really cool book in the post to someone.
Yeah.
You've done a 3D model of my mining machine,
Yeah.
and then we say, hey, download this app, scan this thing. and then it's an online presentation, and it sees a 3D model. This is what a mining rig is. This is how it works. A little video of me explaining how it works for their sector pops up. Get in touch with us. Here's the number below. Yeah. Bang! Now you've created the coolest shit marketing advertising. Go to the museums when you go to the museums. That's fine. If you want to do that stuff, do it. The educational, commercial, whatever. That's fine. But you can because this can be used to educate customers. Yeah. That's no different than people turning up at a museum. You know.
No, it's a good point. I mean, there's no extra cost. We don't have to implement anything.
No, you just use this in a quicker way.
No, very good. No, very good point. Cool. I don't know if we have to go.
No, it's fine.
But I mean,
think fast. When you're starting, think fast. That's thinking big. You need to think fast.
Yeah.
You're quick. You need to grow.
Now, so...
Not money. No, you don't need money now. Right. Don't chase the money now. You need to provide value.
Okay.
That's the difference. So, if you have. So say you use my company as an example, if you can go to another company and say, we've already worked with this multi-million-pound company and this is the success of the campaign, what you need is results, you need stats, you need metrics. You need to say, oh, Easy Crypto Hunter sent out 1,000 of these to their customers and they had this response rate and they believe it's increased sales by this much. And then you take that to another company, another company, another company. So for something like that, you know, you're thinking, like, you got to think wider. Like, how cool would it be for, like, you know, Aston Martin send to their prospective customers in the post, or you can see the model on your phone and scan through it, or you can spin the car around and change the colour and like that's where you want to take this stuff commercially.
Yeah, commercially.
Because you can make quick decisions. Once you've done it for one company, you can do it for someone else real quick. Because it's so cool, you could literally, and then your marketing for the company is this. You send something of that company that you've designed in the post to them. Hey guys, we can make this advertising for your business. Boom.
Yeah.
That's selling itself. This is what we do. It's awesome. It's cool. It's all right. We're done. Solved the problem. It's done.
Nice to see
Sorted.
Very
all
nice
right,
to
good.
start with you.